Welcome to the MaxBet podcast, a podcast dedicated to everything gaming. I'm Landon Jones, here with Mike McKiskey. Let's get started. I feel ready to start this week's podcast, Mike, so I'm ready. I'm ready to kick it off.
Kick it off.
It's kicked.
Like the Super Bowl. Kick it off.
Who you got for the Super Bowl, buddy? By the way, welcome to the podcast, everyone.
I thought that was you kicking it off.
Oh, yeah, we're kicked.
No, we're kicked. We're in the air. We're tumbling downfield. I don't know, man. I honestly don't know how to call this one.
Yeah.
Part of it is I got two good buddies that are on either side, diehards, right?
Yeah.
So Brian Green up in Grayton, Andrew Burke over Blueberry.
Yeah.
Diehards. They're Rams, Bengals. So part of me is like, I don't want to call it because I don't want to piss one of my brothers off, right? Like, so there's part of that, but not that that's a word to me. It's hard, man, right? Because like outside of the quarterback, I'm looking saying the Rams are going to win it. And this, by the way, is going to come out the day after, so it doesn't matter.
I want to back up.
Okay.
I love Andrew Burke and Brian Green. Two of my favorite people.
Yes.
I heard there's a nasty bet in place between these two.
It's a cool bet. I don't know. Nasty kind of gives me different connotations, but
Okay,
it's so their bet is
provocative.
It's a razor blade bet, a little shave action going on. So BG would have to, if the Bengals win,
That could get nasty. Yes.
Brian shaves his head to the skin, like big razor blade to the skin.
Okay.
And if the Rams win, and Burke shaves his beard, my understanding is big razor blade to the skin.
Ooh,
so
I feel like Brian got the better end of the stick on this deal.
just because he's got less hair than Burke has beard. Yeah, I get it. It's either case though. It's got to be tough, man. It's always weird when you have hair. Like for me, it's my face, and then if there's times where I shave, it's always weird to feel the open air again. So it'll be interesting for either guy to go from hairy to unhairy.
That would have to be a big bet for me to shave my head. I mean,
what's your price?
Big bet.
What is the bet? Like, what would you even bet on? I bet you would get a tattoo bet before you would do a hair shave.
100%.
Yeah.
I would not. I feel bad even. I probably wouldn't. It costs a lot of money for me to shave.
I love how nervous you are right now.
I am nervous.
There's some bet pending on this.
10,000 plus. It'd have to be like 20.
5-figure wager.
And by the way, I'll donate that if anybody's willing to take that shave bet. But that.
So whoa, okay. So hold on. So what you're saying is if people get together some way, shape, or form, and they find a charity that they're willing to donate 10,000 to, you're going to shave your hair.
Up, huh?
It's for the kids. Do it for the kids. St. Jude's or I don't know, whatever. Pick a good one. I don't know.
I would get to pick the charity.
Yeah, you could. Okay. What kind of cause would you support? Inkster down in Florida does one. I don't know the cause exactly, but it's St. Baldrick's is what it's called. So every year he does a fundraiser. He shaves his head. And I think it's something to do with cancer kids and supporting them. Yeah. Either way, it's a great cause. So mine
would be like more of a personal charity. So I would like to find like someone locally.
Okay.
Like a single mom, right? That's working hard and trying just to get by.
Oh, just go like give it to her directly.
And just give her 10,000 and say, hey, you've been working hard and trying, like, this should help you.
Yeah.
And that makes a huge impact.
I like the spirit of it. I don't know how you would secure that. Like, how do you find that lady or that family? Or
I'm sure we can figure it out.
All right. Well,
mine would be like an independent.
So are you in? Are we going to set up a fundraise for 10,000 for you to go to the, okay.
If you can do that and
Clear
I can do that for someone, that would be really cool. I would shave my head. I don't think I have enough to donate it to
No, you don't. You need a lot. Believe me, when I grew mine out to donate it to, who did I go to? Wigs for Kids was what I found was allegedly better. You need at least 11.
Yeah, dude, I miss your long hair. You look like a Viking.
Yeah, thanks. I miss it sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Like there's times when I wish I still could like just like Viking up a little, but more often than not, I'm good with the short because it's so easy, right? You just go down, figure it out. What I'll say is if they hit the number, I'll shave my head.
Too?
Yeah, because what do I care? My hair's already short. Like it's different for me, right? Like, I think
it's gonna look weird with both of us running around with
maybe we'll put our hats on for a week. Mine won't be. It'll be this long in a month, right? Like you got a little ways to go back, but like. This is good. I didn't think we were doing this on the show.
I don't know why. I mean, okay.
We got there.
If it's for a good cause, I'm in. I'm more concerned about Burke shaving his beard. I love you, Burke. I don't know who I'm rooting for. I really love to just see the smiles on Brian Green's face if the Rams win. So
what's horrible is that one of those guys is going to have to lose.
Let's you and I make a bet.
Okay. You pick your team. I'll go the other way. So do you want the Rams and I'll take the Bengals? Is that what you're saying? Okay.
Yeah.
What's our bet?
I don't know. I have no clue. What do you want to do? Let's do.
And then are we doing points? Are we doing straight up?
I like the Super Bowl. Let's go $500.
$500 bet. Okay.
Cash.
Straight up.
Straight up.
Let me see how bad I'm getting host here.
Yeah. Let me look at the line.
Super Bowl.
First.
You're favored by 5 or 4.5. So
that's good news for me.
$500. You're dumb. That's fine.
All right.
Joe Burrow, championship guy. We'll figure it out.
And by the way, if I win, I will donate that money.
Okay. So then, therefore, so will I. So we're going to do what am I going to let you be charity guy and then me go, hey, $1,000, let me go spend it. Let's do it.
Can the charity be the MaxBet startup? No, just kidding.
What are you doing here?
Anyways, we have a very interesting interview
This
today.
is cool. I'm excited for this.
We've been trying to change up our interviews a little bit. We just did Rob Sinelli, so that was fun. But before Rob Sinelli, we did a card counter, which you guys can debate legal or illegal. We're not ones to decide on that. And but this week is another interesting interview. You want to take it?
She's cool, man. Yeah. So we met her via LinkedIn, which is kind of interesting. Yeah. And she's a PhD candidate, so she'll be a doctor in the next couple months here. I think she's in her final phase, and she's doing some cool studies in the gaming biz, or at the with Bo at Blackfire. But so then cool. All she had to say to me in the chat was robots, and I go, "You're in." Landon's gonna immediately want to talk to you.
So excited.
So yeah, she's pretty cool. So we're chatting with her. So Nasim Binesh is how you pronounce it. I always butcher that, so I got it. I want to make sure I get it right. And then she's from Iran. So what's kind of cool is long world traveling story from Iran to Malaysia to States, right? She's pretty cultured, and do you talk to her and she's totally cool, but you just go, we might be a little outclassed here. You just start talking.
You know what, man? I always wish I had the doctorate title just because my last name's Jones.
Okay.
Dr. Jones. I just always wanted that, but I could never get there. Wasn't smart enough.
What's stopping you? I guess about 6 years and $100,000.
Just the whole schooling thing.
Just reading. That's what's
just reading the books.
Yeah,
I need to get there.
I never had that ambition. Right?
Yeah.
I don't know that I would chase it. I think it's cool, but I don't have any need to be Dr. Kiski.
I do books on tape. If you could get a doctorate on tape, I'm there.
The problem is, I think, is at the end of most of these doctorate programs, you basically have to write a book. I didn't have I have an MBA, but I didn't have to do a thesis or anything, or like in doctorate, you have to write a whole dissertation, which I'm pretty sure is a publishable thing, right? So it's you forget read a book. You're basically writing a book, right? And it's, so that's the part where I go, I don't know, man. I could write my own book and just go, hey, this is my thoughts, or the mad ramblings of a guy who thinks he knows something. But the ones that you go, hey, there's 400 cited sources.
Not for me, dude.
Can't do it. That's why I don't work in accounting.
Well, we're wasting time. Should we?
Hold on. So what's cool is, we actually chatted with her and we forgot to bring this up. So I want to shout her out now. So she brought us this cool, handmade, I don't know if you can see it, Iranian. Sorry to everyone that I just offended. Iranian artwork. So I have that. I'm decimating names. I apologize. But so Iranian handmade kind of dish, which is kind of fun.
Drop the eye, guys. Drop the eye.
It's Iran. We learned that today. So all respect to the people of Iran. Sorry, I pronounced it incorrectly. But so it's cool artwork, cool candy chew. So we got some local flavor here, which is fun. And she was a blast, super smart. And I think everybody will be excited to listen to her.
Let's rock and roll, baby.
Let's go, baby. Nasim, what is happening? Thanks for joining us here today. I appreciate you coming by. How you doing?
Thank you. I'm doing great. I'm actually very honored to be here.
Are you? Yeah. Well, we're honored to have you. It's definitely a first for us. So you are a soon-to-be doctor, so PhD candidate. It sounds like just working on the dissertation, which I'll ask you about, and then flew all the way from Iran, which not directly, as I break everything you've generously given us. But so you flew in. So for us, this is a first in a lot of ways. So we will probably make fools of ourselves as we get into research and doctorate level topics, because that's not our specialty. But we're grateful to have you.
I actually have to give you credit too before we start, because Nasim reached out to Mike on LinkedIn.
Just the way it works.
And just said, hey, I listened to your show. Would love to meet with you guys. Comes over. We were just chat with her. We're like, so how can we help you? She's like, I want to be on the podcast. We're like, we'd love to have you on the podcast. But giving you credit for reaching out and going outside the box to go just explore and meet people, like, my hat's off to you, because a lot of people, one, being on a podcast the first time is probably scary.
Yeah.
But two, reaching out to people you don't know.
Is it your first podcast?
It is.
Okay. Yeah. So I didn't want to assume that. I was like, you're just assuming it's your first time.
You know what they say about assumptions.
That's your whole program. But yeah. So anyway, no, we're grateful to have you. And he's right. Like, kudos for just reaching out. Like, I think we get that a lot. Like, and I think it's shame on us because people say, well, hey, how come you don't have certain types of guests or something? It's like, sometimes you're just a victim of like the circle you're in. Right. And so when you, I don't even know if you messaged me, if it was like a comment on a post or something, and it was just like, oh, that's interesting. It was like PhD candidate. I go, what's that about? And I think I go, hey, what are you researching over there? And you're like, oh, I'm at the game. I work with Bo and the whole thing over at the Gaming Institute. I was like, oh, we got to meet. Just go get a coffee. And it turns out she came to the office, and I was like, that's fun. So you're here now, and it's pretty fantastic. But you've had a hell of a journey, I guess, from step one till now.
I did. It's actually it's interesting because after that message on LinkedIn, it took me a few months to be back here because of COVID. I was
you went home. Yeah. So you went back. So okay. So background wise, so you are from Iran, right?
Yes.
That's like kind of your born home country. You've been around. We'll talk about that as far as like some of your travels. Like, you studied your master's in a different country, and now you're here in the U.S. doing your PhD. So it's like, I laugh. I'm always like, I'm a little intimidated by that because that's pretty impressive. But then for COVID, you ended up going back, and then they shut the country down. Is that kind of how it works, or did they shut the states down for that? Like, which side did you get stuck with?
So the thing is that I had to apply. I had to renew my visa. Mm-hmm. So the appointments for embassy were full. It took a while to get that. And afterwards, it take a lot of like their own, administrative process to go through that. And they have become actually very slow in these things. Yeah. And it was very frustrating for me.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Was that so frustrating as a process to like get back and do the thing you want, right? Because you probably, when you decide like, hey, I want to go back, like I should go today. Like, it's got to be frustrating. But was it a good thing to be there? Like, was it one of those you're like, hey, it's nice to be back. I've been traveling abroad and living in the States for a while. Or are you like, hey, a couple months with mom and dad's good. I got to get back to the U.S.
Well, I mean, it's very hard to answer that. I mean, I was excited to be there with them, but after a certain time, I wanted to be back because I have a lot of projects here.
Yeah, right.
And I wanted to be. I was still working remote, but it's never the same.
Right.
At least not for me.
No, I can imagine.
So I prefer to be around people, interact with them. That's one of the things I have a bit of problem right now is all of these virtual meetings and, just not being there with the person in the room.
That's for sure. That's all of us, I feel like.
I would love to talk about some of these projects you're working on, because we did a brief overview when you came to visit us last week, and it's insane.
Well, for you, she said the magic word. Yeah, I was going to say, she says robots, and Landon's like, I'm in. Let's talk about it for all day.
I want a robot. Let's chat about some of the projects you're working on with Bo over at UNLV, and just talk about your journey being here in the States.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah. So maybe I should start
with the robots for Landon.
Yeah. Let's go.
We'll get to the backstory. Yeah.
Okay, sure, yeah. So I joined UNLV in 2019. Yeah. And from the time I joined, I was interested in working on robots and robotics and hospitality. I started with more like a survey type study first. Yeah.
And that's basically survey for the uneducated, like some of us, is you can go kind of sit in on a few classes, get a sense of it, feel like what you want to do. Is that what that means?
No. So you send out questionnaires to people.
Oh, okay.
So basically they answer.
Like an actual survey.
Yeah, like an actual survey. They answer the questions about what's their perception, what's their attitude about robots. Do they want to see them in different parts of the hotel operation? Yeah. From front desk to food and beverage to room service. So that was the first thing I did.
What was the overall consensus on that? Are people against robots?
Oh, no, actually, no. Surprisingly, yeah. And that was one of the things maybe I'm a bit biased because I'm a woman, but I wanted to actually check those stereotypes of like men are more tech savvy. They are more welcoming towards new technology.
Is that the theory? Like, is that the general like stereotype?
I mean, it's like, so older research from back in the 90s showed that.
Well, okay, it's the 90s. Yeah. Like, no offense, I'm going to just disclaim the 30-year-old thing.
We've come a long way.
Well, because my personal experience, not to steal your whole story, but like when I was learning a lot of tech, there's a lot of ladies who were teaching me, right? So for me, it was like, I just wouldn't have guessed that, but that's my own little bubble. But so go ahead. So you were dispelling this myth in your own head that said, hey, guys are more advanced. Or
yeah, so it's basically like about age, gender. I mean, it also makes sense, when you get older, you become like, oh my God, even using your smartphone becomes a hassle, right?
We all have parents.
Yeah, and soon we will be one of them.
Yes, exactly.
But also so about women versus men, we also see if you look at body of literature, you see a lot of it, not just in the 90s, but also until recently, that a lot of them still support that men are basically more okay with, embracing new technology. But the results of my study showed it's not actually true. They both embrace that and just support that, but there were differences. Again, age was a factor.
Sure.
The younger the participant was, the more willing they were towards
So it's more age specific. So guy or girl, the younger you were, the more likely you were, and guy or girl, the older you were, the less likely. Yeah, makes sense.
What type of robots are you studying?
Well,
what type of robots can we infuse into our industry, into the hospitality or gaming
So
industry?
that was the first study I did. In that one, there was no specific robot mentioned.
So you were just saying in general about tech.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, it was more about service robots.
Oh, okay.
But I didn't specify if it's like a butler robot or concierge robot. And so after that one, I was always interested in doing something more practical. I think one of the things that I feel we're missing in this field in academia is that we're always behind what's happening in industry.
We can't keep up.
No, we just go and, check what they're doing and they try to replicate some of those. I think they should come to us. They should come to us and say, hey, we have this problem. Can you maybe find a solution for that? We are willing to hire you. We are willing to work together. Or they could even find, something interesting in our research and implement that.
Right.
So that was my goal. And then I met Robert Rippey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We met him for 5 minutes. Seems like a brilliant person and a fun dude.
Yeah, he's brilliant. I audited his class. He taught an innovation class. Yeah. And then I reached out to him and I was like, hey, I have some ideas. I'm thinking about some research proposals. And we talked about it. And then few months later, he contacted me. Hey, we've bought a robot.
That's the email you want.
Can we buy a robot?
Not yet.
Okay.
The day will come, but not so far.
So and he told me, hey, we're going to wait for you because I was traveling. He said, we're going to wait for you until you're back for unboxing and everything. And I was super excited.
Wait, so did you know? So you had just sent him a random message a few months earlier saying, hey, I liked your class. I took the innovation thing. I'm interested. Then he just randomly says, I liked your note. I'm going to wait for you to unbox the robot.
So we met.
In between, you guys said, okay. I was like, wow, what a guy. Just gone, hey, stranger, you're in. But okay, so you're in, yeah.
We knew each other.
Got it, okay.
For a while. And then I reached out to him. We sat and talked about my ideas. And then I said something along the lines of, so Blackfire at that point, for people that don't know, Blackfire is a collaboration between UNLV and Caesars Entertainment.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure you have already visited the property. So
yeah, we've been there.
Yeah, so they have access to the latest technology in hospitality, and that's amazing. It's a great opportunity for students. A lot of them still don't know about Blackfire, which is a bit disappointing, I think. So it was just the beginning of Robert joining Blackfire team.
Got it.
And one of the first things that I'm assuming they put on the budget list was the robot.
Yay.
Yeah, but so what did, so you mentioned earlier, anytime you say robot, I think I'm in. But you got so many different kinds. You have battle bots, right? That destroy each other. You have the security guard robot at Pachanga. Yep. We saw when we were touring a housekeeping robot. I don't know if that's in the world yet, but it was in the demo lab. And I think, was it some sort of space robotics UNLV just won a bunch of prizes for at Blackfire? So what was the first robot? So when you unboxed this, what was the purpose of that specific?
It was a Roomba. It's it's going to clean this place. We're like, sweet, we got a robot.
Okay, it's more advanced than a Roomba.
So it was a pepper robot. It's by SoftBank Robotics.
Okay.
You can Google it and you can see the pictures of it.
Yeah.
There are some properties, even in Las Vegas, that are
So is it
using
Pepper spelled like you think? Pepper, like just
yes.
a regular
That's
pepper?
the robot's name.
Yeah.
And what does it do? What is Pepper's function?
It's basically a humanoid robot
Yes. Okay.
that has a tablet on its chest. So you can interact through talking to it or touching the tablet.
Interesting.
Yeah, and it's a service robot. Like it's more good for concierge services. Yeah.
Okay. So you could go up to it. I don't even know
Make
what that
me
means.
a reservation. Like, can I get a reservation?
Like go talk to you, say,
or
hey, I
what
want
should
dinner
eat?
tonight. Oh, okay.
Interesting.
Yeah. You've obviously used the concierge more than me.
I like robots.
And yeah, perfect.
So there's that.
Okay. So now so that exists.
Yeah.
And then, so what are you doing with your research specific to robotics? So there's this concierge kind of self-service. I love the phrase humanoid, which terrifies me, I think realistically, but it's probably not so bad. So now what are you like evolving that into? So you're saying, hey, this exists. He can book you dinner. Are we getting to the point where he can carry your bags to your room without help and make the bed, or how far away are we from?
So Pepper is actually quite fragile. It cannot carry very, heavy items.
Okay.
It's mostly for, as you said, you could ask for like, where should I go for dinner? Where should I visit? Or could you please find the ticket for this show for me, or book a reservation, or those things, or like for check-in purposes. What I'm doing right now is I have a series of proposals. One of the things that I'm working on is looking at Pepper, the robot, and comparing that to a kiosk and a human agent. So let's say you walk into a hotel and you want to check in and you have 3 options.
Yep.
All of these 3 options, which one would you prefer to use and why? So that's an experiment that you can.
I know my answer.
Well, my answer would change, because if there's a massive line and I don't want to wait in it, and Pepper's just chilling over in the corner and she's willing and ready to help me, I'm going to get Pepper.
And this, when you ask this question, are we assuming, hey, all are available, like you could walk up and be the next guest, or is it 20 people in one line and 10 in the, like, I'm assuming the line is not a factor.
So, obviously when you're doing an experiment, you should keep everything else. Yeah.
The same.
Science, dude.
I only believe
We're going to science this thing today. So what would your answer be? I mean, I don't know if she's going to record this for her survey, but at least we can.
I feel like most humans, not humanoids, are like path of least resistant, right? So if I have to walk up to Pepper and learn how to use Pepper, that might like push me away from wanting to go figure that out, because I don't want to feel like an idiot. When you have to go get your parking stall and you don't know how that little part, and you're like, I don't know the number, and I gotta. It gets frustrating, right? But if there's a nice smiling human behind a desk that can help me just as fast, I'd probably rather deal with a human.
Yeah, that's also a sign of aging, but.
It's I don't want to point at you because it's my same answer, but the reasoning is different.
I'm getting old.
I have no issue trying to learn a robot. Here's my problem, right? I feel like, especially when you're talking about hotel check-in, I am still convinced, probably not true, but I'm convinced that I can make a momentary connection with the agent, guy or girl, doesn't matter, and get a better room placement. Not a suite necessarily, but like, you know what I mean? Like you go up, hey,
sales guy kissed you over
Yes,
there.
exactly. Just a slight little charm or a joke that lands, and all of a sudden you're not near the elevator.
Can you help me with that? I think I'll need that.
I think you're plenty charming, but either way, maybe. And so, but like those are the things where I go, I might have a little gamble on the.
What if you
thing.
spoke robot?
just go up to him. Hey,
and you're
binary, like 1001. Yeah, maybe. But I think that would be the only reason, though. But otherwise, it would absolutely be line for me. You're 100%. Like if there's nobody at the robot and 50 people at the desk, I'm going robot.
That's actually 100%. Very interesting that you mentioned this. It was one of the things. So I interviewed some expert before doing that, and one of the hotel managers actually mentioned this. That sometimes people like to do that. They want to talk to an actual human agent to express that, hey, I'm a loyal member of all of that, and see if they can get an upgrade or something.
Yeah, because like Hilton, it wouldn't matter. Like I don't know if I'm status anymore because we haven't been traveling with the new biz. But before I was Diamond, top level Hilton, right, run around. They would just upgrade you as a matter of like the process. So the robot in that scenario would treat me exactly the same as the front person because it was very clear.
Right.
What I noticed when, like, for example, I did a Resorts World for G2E, right? And so I went in and I go, listen, all right, you're a member, so that's helpful. But we got you playing, like you have a player's card. I was like, well, no, you give me one. Like, okay, cool. And then I just felt like that conversation led me to a higher floor,
right, and
a better placement, in my opinion, better away from the elevator. And it was like, oh, it's great. And I felt like I got that from talking. So I think it would depend on the resort. Like if you're going on a vacation, it may matter more than some standard business travel.
If you could make the experience, and I know this is your podcast, and I know we have other things to talk about outside of robots, because I would love to talk about robots all day. If you could make it almost like an experience to go have a conversation with Pepper, to book your whatever tickets for whatever show you're going to see that night, it'd be cool. Like, come hang out with Pepper and get tickets from Pepper. And then all of a sudden you're like, man, that'd be kind of cool. I want to go chat with a robot instead of this human, not humanoid.
Well, you could do it socially, right? If you go, hey, go get Pepper. And
Here we
Pepper
are trying to solve all the problems.
That's what we do.
Yeah,
anyway, we're usually wrong, so bet against us. But where you take a picture with Pepper, whatever, I don't know. But okay, my question for you is actually more this. So let's assume most people are going, yeah, the human, right? All things equal. Why would Pepper be better than a kiosk? So like at that point, to me, they're both essentially machines.
Yep.
Why would one win over the other?
So the thing about a humanoid is that you will get also like a bit of that human interaction experience.
Like the, hey, how are you today?
Yes.
Right? That? Okay, got it.
Like the robot greets you, talks to you, and you kind of feel like the robot understands you. Kiosk is just a machine.
Yeah.
And also it has voice recognition. So you could say that I want to do this, and then it will just pop up on the screen what you want to do. Compared to a kiosk that you should just click some,
you can get lost in a kiosk.
Yeah.
Well, and then it takes away like your point about I'm a little nervous here.
Yeah.
Right. Because if you're on a kiosk, there's no one to help you. You just have to touch and figure it out. Right. But in this case, you go, hey, Pepper, I need dinner. I'm hungry. And Pepper goes, okay, big guy, here's your options. Right. Like that makes more sense.
Yeah, there's a thing that you mentioned about people taking pictures with robots is so true. So one of the things that we see today is that these kind of robots have been used for entertainment purposes.
Yeah.
So a lot of people that I interviewed said hotel managers mentioned that they use these robots basically as a distraction while the guest is waiting.
Interesting.
For that checking process,
You got like dancing robots on the side.
They do that.
I just imagine the robot coming out like a top hat and a tails coat. He's like, hello, my baby, like in the old cartoons,
It's so Connie, funny. Which is the smaller cousin.
Okay. So Pepper and Connie, got it. Yeah.
That one actually has. That one actually, both of them dance, but Connie is smaller, and it's a bit cuter.
That's funny.
If you remember that Gum style that went viral.
Yeah.
Oh, but Gangnam Style. Landon can do the dance actually.
Yeah. Robot. Yeah. Which one's your favorite robot?
Right on the spot.
In hospitality or
between Pepper and Connie?
Ooh, Family Feud.
I mean, it's very different. It was very hard. Yeah, it's very hard to pick.
I get it.
Yeah, it depends. So, the good thing about Connie is that also it has another cousin that's as like you could just buy for your kid, and the kid could program it. So they come in different sizes and different capabilities. Each of them are unique. I don't know, it may sound a bit weird, but I kind of have, I feel kind of connection to each of them differently. Like
that's so cool.
Yeah.
It's like all the friends we have. You don't love them all the same. You might love them all, right? So how far away are we from this being relatively mainstream? Because I feel like you're doing some cool work and you go, hey, this thing can kiosk you and greet you and maybe do a little dance, right? But at what point are we going, oh yeah, I went to MGM Grand and bang, here's a Pepper. And then I went to Cosmo and here's a Pepper, and Connie's at resorts. Like how far away are we from that?
So we are in the middle of it kind of, they started actually implementing and adopting these kind of technologies. Yeah. But I think hospitality in a lot of ways is way behind compared to other industries in adopting new technology. But in some ways, I think COVID made it faster, and now they help. It actually helped to embrace it more compared to what we saw before. But still, we have a lot to do, because I've seen like in some of hotels, it's very embarrassing to say, but they use Pepper as a doorstop.
So the robot's like the door.
That makes me mad. Like I'm mad about that.
Why?
Because
This is like a disrespect to pepper. Is that
Correct.
the deal? See, to me, it feels like it would make me Max. It's like a waste of money. Like you could buy a 27-cent rubber doorstop and be good. I don't know how much pepper costs. Is it 6 figures to buy a robot?
No, it's not.
Okay. What are we looking at range? I mean, you're not a pepper saleswoman, I should say, but like, what's the range for buying a pepper?
Sure. It's about 13 to 15,000.
Okay. That's a lot, dude. You could buy, I mean, maybe not anymore, but you could have bought a car, used one, right?
But you could also lease it. So they have options like I think it's around 300 monthly payment. But you know what?
I wish you wouldn't have said that because now Lana's going to try to lease a robot. That's all I'm saying. Get a doorman at the house or something.
It would be nice to have someone around, but not everyone's here, you know?
Just hanging out. Oh, man. Okay. That makes sense. So, yeah, doorstop. But why? Okay, so why do you think hospitality is so far behind? Like, it seems like it's an industry people interact with constantly.
Yeah.
I mean, people are always going on vacation. Even with COVID, they're always business traveling. They're doing different things. So, wouldn't it make sense that there's such a demand it would advance technology? Or why do we think why is it so far behind? Like, I guess it just seems strange.
I think the main reason is that hospitality doesn't have the infrastructure and also the people that know how to use these kind of technologies.
Yeah, interesting.
So, for example, when I talked about pepper that was used as a doorstop in some of the properties, the reason is that even though it comes with a demo, so you could buy the demo, the company provides this demo that it's like an annual payment.
Yep.
It's easy to use. Like if you compare DOS compared to Windows or like Macintosh, it's like coming through. Like that's the evolution. So the demo that comes with is like very user friendly, but at the same time you still have to be able to customize it for your own property and maybe just type some of the lines or something like that. They don't have the people to work with that.
That is so interesting in a lot of different industries, not robots included, but even just back end systems that have all these functionalities, even like a Salesforce, right?
Yeah.
Where you don't take it to like its full potential because you just don't want to do the work to put in all the little like.
Well, I would bet most systems, it doesn't matter. Like when our business, casino systems, Salesforce we've used, like so different resource management, everybody goes, I'm not using the whole thing.
Yeah.
You just never like
path the least resistant again. Like you don't want to take the extra steps to get the extra benefit.
Yeah. Cause you have to reprocess everything.
Yeah. And learn and do work.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
So we said we go back to it. So so we're in robots now, but how'd you decide to go down this path? Right. So we're kind of rewinding saying, hey, I'm assuming it's a high school kind of program in Iran. And you go, look, your first stop was actually master's in Malaysia. So was that hospitality focused as well? Like, were you always like, hey, I want to get into some sort of hospitality study? And then why, I guess? Like what motivated you to do that?
No, I got an MBA.
Yep.
Yeah. So I guess that's actually very interesting because I was thinking about it before coming here. That was like, and I just remembered as a kid, I was always interested in robots, aliens, and working with computer.
I'm going to just unplug and let you two finish. Friends, you guys are about to be BFFs. Yeah. Karate in the garage and you're sold.
Yeah, I think part of it was that probably because my mom received her master's in computer engineering.
Okay.
So I grew up with, looking at, reading books about computer, playing with punch cards back then. Computers had just punch cards. And for me, it was always fascinating. For some time, I felt like that was something I wanted to do.
Yep.
And I actually got also admitted to a computer engineering program, but I ended up choosing statistics at this university that's very prestigious. So in my country, it makes it like very important. People want to attend the best university.
Yeah.
So instead of going to that private one, I ended up going to this one that was one of the top 5.
Yeah.
And I guess I was always interested in doing something, related to that. And I always find some way that I could, go back and maybe, create an opportunity that I could do both at the same time. And
interesting. And were you always focused? Like, did you always assume you'd end up in the US or like, cause when you're from Iran, like there's no nothing that says you're coming to the States, right? I mean, that's a whole different part of the world, right? So that you left there, which is, by the way, back to Landon's point, kudos to you for all the, like, I want to call it courage. I don't know if that's right,
courage,
but like,
man.
just going out, I don't know how old you were when you went to college, assuming it's like 18, 19, like it is here. You go, I'm just going to go to Malaysia. Like, do you have friends there? You just said, I don't know, there's a cool big statistics school. I'm just going to wing it. And then from there, you know, it sounds like a quick stop back home. And then now you're in the US again, just like, hey, I'm here, I'm going to do this. Like, that's bold to start. Yeah. But did you always know that somehow the US was like the end result, or how did that develop to pull you over to this side of the ocean?
Actually, honestly, no.
Yeah, that's what's curious.
Because I guess part of it was that my dad did his master's here.
Oh, okay.
And he always told me, like, so basically he was like,
here Vegas or here US?
No, in Columbia University.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, well.
Yeah.
Hello.
Smart house there, man. Yeah, that's big time.
So, but he loved America. He still loves it. But for him, I think because I'm an only child, he always wanted to me be closer to home.
Oh, for sure. I get that.
That was the reason.
This comes from our conversation earlier where he didn't want you to come to the States to be to school. So, And does he support you now? I mean, is he happy that you're here now, and he's happy that kind of fun you?
My dad loves New York.
Yeah. Cool.
And every time we watch a movie that is set in New York, it's like, oh, I remember this is street or that one. I was like, Dad, what did you tell me that I shouldn't move then?
Yeah.
Like, you love it. And
so my daughter's 5, right? So it's not the same, but I get the instinct. He's like, I want you, like, it's a jungle. So New York's awesome, but it's a jungle. Even this city is like not even close to what New York is, but it's like, you're by yourself for the most part, right? Like, it's tough, man. And if I'm down, like, my daughter raised her hand and goes, I want to go to Malaysia. I'm like, I guess I'm moving to Malaysia. Because like, you ain't going all the way there by yourself. Like, let's see it instinctually. So I get what he's saying, but yeah, once you're here, hopefully it's good and not so scary.
No, it's not actually. Yeah. I love it here.
Well, you're dominating. That seems to be clear. About to be a doctor, so we'll salute you for that. And okay, so robotics.
We could, we want to let's maybe move on from robots.
Yeah, I was going to say, what's the other thing? Because it's not just robots. Like, so it's robots, but then you're also doing a couple other projects. Like, what are some of the other things you have your hands on?
Sure. So let me also mention that I'm working on different projects on robots. So I'm not just looking at...
we're not off robots. I love this.
We can go all day. Don't bother me.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
We'll have an alien conversation on our own outside of this, because I don't want to spook
Why not record it? Why not record it?
Because they're not ready for it.
Got it. Okay.
So, I'm not just looking at the hotel side. I want to also see if we can use it in gaming industry.
Interesting.
So that's why I'm also working on another one that compares, again, different, types of technology as we just talked about in sports betting.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's interesting. So to what end? Like, what would it be doing? So the robot now is in sports betting. Is it analyzing numbers and trying to come up with the best lines for bettors to pick, or like what would the robot be doing?
You know what? This is a very interesting thing that you just mentioned.
Perfect.
So there's some research behind us that shows just having some form of, information about the past games and odds of, the past games that have happened in the past gives you some false assurance that you know what you're doing.
Okay.
A lot of gamblers, when they see something like that, they end up being more willing to place a bet.
Okay, based off previous games,
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you called it false confidence. I'm assuming it's not true.
It's not true, because a lot of things could happen, that it's like...
Any given Sunday.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, and coming from a statistics background, I think the odds of winning something, that is very low. So
yeah.
What?
And so wait, hold on though.
Okay, so I'm the human that's calling timeout, but you go ahead.
You're the human. I just want to figure out where a robot fits into this. Like, is there a humanoid robot cruising around? We'll call it Circa, their sports book.
Love Circa.
And he's just watching people's eye movements and facial expressions. He's like, hey, you want to make a bet? Bet here. Like, I mean, where does the robot
Can you please make the Landon humanoid just random flirty robot?
Well,
why did it have to be? Okay.
I think we used your idea.
Yay!
Perfect.
What's up?
Yeah. So what does it do? So is it if you're telling me that I'm debunked and it says like just because Tom Brady's in the game doesn't mean they're going to win? Fine. I instinctually don't want to believe that, but I will for the sake of this. What does the robot then? So like, what is it doing?
So what just you said, it's like one of the things that we thought about. It's one of the possibilities. So let's say you're just sitting, you're having a drink or two with your friends, and then this robot shows up. It's like, this game is on.
This is Salt. Right. His sister's Pepper. I know her.
Robot with a pompadour shows up to your booth.
Okay, sorry.
We've sent her off the deep end with our Landon robot.
That's good.
Okay, so now the robot interjects into your friendly cocktail hour.
Yeah, and then...
You're so good, dude.
Show.
No, this is great.
That's okay.
He's a comedian.
Give the people what they want.
Okay.
Saturday Night Live.
So, yeah, I mean, and then it says, like, this game is on, you know, still, like, this number of, I don't know, like, minutes or whatever is left, and you still have some time to bet on it.
Yeah.
And it's like a form of marketing that you use in, you know, in that kind of environment. And
Interesting.
so instead of, you know, like going somewhere, you know, like to a kiosk or even using your phone, because sometimes it can be also frustrating for some people, they could just use a robot.
It's like a cocktail serving robot with sports picks. Essentially, like imagine you're just chilling with your buddies.
Yeah, but
on the side.
But what I'm understanding right now, at least first pass, is the robot is an extension of the service window, right? So basically,
Correct.
you're saying, don't walk all the way over there. You're sitting here with your girlfriend or your whoever, and you're having a drink. Like, just bet on this, right? And so it's bringing the ticket window to your table, effectively, is what I'm hearing.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Got it.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good way to do it. I don't have to pay someone to do that now. Like, you don't have to say.
Is that the only use of a gaming robot in terms
for
of
now,
like
or like what other applications?
Oh no! So we also have some card dealing robots.
Interesting.
That are already being used.
Makes sense.
Well, you know what that robot's not going to do?
Make mistakes.
Miscount.
Yeah.
Right? Because we talked about with Stan on the card counting, right? And it was like, hey, they miscount all the time. And it's like, wow. Like, so that's a pretty cool one. They'll give you hands per hour. They're not going to get involved in chit chat.
But then there's that interaction, right? Like talking with a dealer. And are you going to tip your robot?
Me, I'm not tipping a robot.
Nope.
0%.
That's where cultural differences become very important. For example, you could probably not use the same thing in some countries, like in Far East Asia, which there are, like they very much believe in luck and superstition and everything.
Oh yeah, with the trends and the whole, absolutely.
So for them, it's going to be very different. For certain clientele that want to interact with the car dealer, for them is also going to be different. They want to have that interaction. They want to, like, sometimes just looking at the face of the car dealer, they could give them, you know, sense of like they know what they're doing, for example. Again, talking about false reassurance.
I know this is not like a responsible gaming statement that I'm about to make, but like one of the best use cases of a gaming robot, in my opinion, would be the ATM robot we talked about a little bit. Like if I'm sitting and I'm playing a game and the casino floor is busy and I'm running out of funds, because that's what usually happens when I play. Yeah. I have to now leave that seat and go find an ATM. And when I get back, my seats usually take it. So if I could call over Pepper, and Pepper has an ATM right there, and I do it right at my seat.
I agree with you. I don't think it's irresponsible. I mean, they're doing it now, right? So you talk about marker tracks, you talk about ACS Play On, I think is what it's called. Like, there's companies that offer that. It's not a robot. It's a
it's just a function. That
tab, right? And then they don't give you cash, they give you chips. It's like, all right, $500, it's a debit, but instead of cash, we just give you whatever.
So maybe there's a better solution than buying a robot.
Something here. Well, see, it's funny. I went the other way because maybe I'm still hopped up on card counting from the other day, but you just go, you could now have the dealer robot go, no. This pattern is not acceptable, right?
You are not playing ultimately.
You are counting like these cards, right? Yeah.
Rain Man.
Yeah, well, it will detect it, right? I mean, I'm assuming, I don't know how sophisticated they are, but you would know, like, hey, this guy's hitting 14. Well, I know they can be.
Yeah.
She's going to take it to the future.
This is a really exciting topic. Mike and I don't usually talk this much, but it's so exciting.
Yeah, you got us fired up a little bit.
It's a really cool space. I'm very jealous. It sounds like you're in a cool path.
Landon wants to intern with you at the robot.
I'm in. Yeah, I'm free. I'll work for free.
Heard that here first.
There you go.
So you mentioned there's many things. So you're doing the kind of betting window extension robot. Like, what other things are you actively pursuing? Forget us daydreaming about robots, but like, what's actually...
Sure. So besides robots, my dissertation is on a price forecasting model. So I'm using
price forecast. Okay.
Yeah, I'm using a machine learning algorithm to come up with the best price for a hotel among other competitors.
Yep.
I'm looking at the element of risk, COVID-19, and the changes in the market. So barring from game theory, I'm looking at the different competitors that are interacting in the same market. What we see today is that a lot of these revenue management systems and hotel revenue managers, they just look at some of the prices that the system shops for them and they just adjust that based on their needs. But what that system misses is that they basically just exclude, like they don't look at all the external factors that are happening. Like it's a convention happening in town or like COVID happened, for example. So they just don't consider those.
So today the way it works is, if I'm understanding this, and I'm probably going to butcher it, and I'll just use a strip because we're here. So if Cosmo has some version of a system that revenue manages, they may say, well, I need to compare rates to Caesars and Bellagio and their neighboring hotels.
Yes.
And it's just a price thing. So they may be looking out and go, well, Bellagio just went up $50, so we're going to go X percentage, whatever their calculation is with that. But then that's it. So they don't look at it and go, well, they went up 50 because they're hosting a convention. They just go, they went up. We should either go up or down based on whatever their calculus is.
Yeah, they just rate shop. Yeah. So all of these revenue management systems out there, they basically mostly do that. And what a machine learning algorithm can do is, as the name suggests, it's through time. When you feed it with more data, it's going to improve itself. The more data you feed into it comes with better results.
That's what I was going to ask you. So we say machine learning. Is that synonymous with artificial intelligence, or are those different things?
So if you think of artificial intelligence as like a bigger, like a big circle, then machine learning comes as a subset of that.
Got it. Okay.
And then under that is deep learning.
Okay.
So the machine takes the data from the AI and then computes it.
It's just a part of AI.
Yeah. But I guess you're giving it multiple inputs. So what you're saying is, okay, price is one thing, but then somebody would have said, oh, by the way, there's a convention, or in Vegas, multiple conventions any given time.
Or a convention was canceled.
Or the pandemic, maybe rates are going up or something, right? So yeah, it's interesting. So what are some of the different factors? Like you mentioned, like you're doing your dissertation, so you're kind of still building this, but COVID, obviously, for now. You mentioned conventions. Like, what are some of the other things you're looking at to? So
you could look at events. You could look at conventions. Obviously, supply and demand changes. These are all historical data. And then ADR.
Average daily rate.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And other things that you could look at also the same, like looking at the competitors in the same market and how much they're charging their customers on the same day. So it's like a daily thing. And if the model works, then you can just feed it into it. You can feed like hourly or even just real-time data. And then it could give you an estimation for what you should charge at this exact moment.
No, I love this. So you come up with this better mousetrap. It's not really a better mousetrap, a different mousetrap, right? Who do you sell it to? Does UNLV own that? Or do you guys go give other Priceline or this software? Where does that go after you guys figure out the solution, a better solution?
So first of all, I have to test the model to make sure that it works. But afterwards, you could always, work with. I'm sure there are going to be companies that are looking for that, because I interviewed some of the people that have created these revenue management systems, and basically, but they usually just use regression and time series models and machine learning. There are some companies that are using those, but they are not still there yet.
But is this a UNLV study, or is this?
That's my dissertation, so it's going to be
study.
mine.
So that would be, okay, that's really cool.
But she's getting her PhD stamped by UNLV, which is cool, because go Rebs.
AA, go Rebs. That's really cool. Awesome.
Thank you.
How close are you?
I'm graduating very soon. By June, I should be graduated.
It's pretty rad.
That is pretty rad.
So do you go software for AI programs or do you go robot fighting?
I think I'm going to do both.
What about peaceful robots? What if she wants peaceful robots? They don't have to necessarily fight for your pleasure.
Fair enough. But a security robot would be kick-ass.
That would be.
You know what I mean? It's like, we're
a little ways from that, though. She said the first one's pretty fragile, but yeah, that's wild. So then what does that lead to? So, okay, so you're going to get you're looking at a doctorate. Well, you'll be a doctor here. It sounds like the next 6 months. And then what job do you take? Like so I'm just trying to think translating this into the world, or is it unconventional? Is it like, hey, now I do my own thing and I lease this? Like what field do you go into? Like, I'm just trying to connect dots in my own.
Sure. So there are multiple opportunities here. One of them obviously is going to be consulting services for hospitality companies that are looking into, like they want to look into a solution. They have a problem. They're looking for somebody that could, work on that for them.
Yep.
It could be, for example, like we were talking about sports betting. A gaming company could come and say, hey, we have a problem. You're thinking if we could use AI maybe, what are the solutions that you think we could actually implement? The other way is like I could also work with revenue managers, obviously, because I have the knowledge. I worked with, a lot of different data analyses and software. And also I could work as a data scientist because I have finished some courses in data science as well.
That's wild. That's a job at the end of data science. You hear more and more.
Yeah.
Right? Because everybody's trying to go, I don't know if they're all doing machine learning, but they're all trying to say, well, we know we can collect data. Right? Like you talk to anybody, you talk to the Sci Games guy, you talk to Acres, right? They're like, we can get data.
Yep.
But what to do with it?
It's a whole new
tough,
program.
Right? Or like Kieran, right? He's AI. He's trying to help sort through, right, some of the data with his program. It's like, okay, yeah. So that's a fun one. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, because if you think about it, today we live in an era of big data.
Yeah.
Everywhere, whatever we do, we are generating data.
Scares the hell out of me. So I was on a different call earlier talking to a marketing firm, and they're going to probably try to help us out. And they go, yeah, we can tell anybody with a mobile phone who has walked into a casino and then walked back out. We can know who they are for the last 90 days. And I'm going, wait, what? Like, I don't even have to download an app. I don't have to say, oh, I'm in on a lot. You and I are in a lot of lists, data lists. But that's my point, right? Like, we're talking about casinos because that's what we're interested in. But like, you could say who's gone to a theme park, who's been to UNLV, who's been to a college. Like, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So the era of big data is well entrenched in what we're doing right now. It's scary. But I'm assuming somebody's got to go, what do I do with it?
I mean, take your example of Amazon.
Yeah.
So every time that you open your account, there are going to be a list of suggestions for you that has been generated using those machine learning algorithms.
Yep.
And they could do the same in gaming, as you said, you know, like, oh, you visit our property like last week, and then you bet it on, I don't know, like this slot machine, or you played this table game, and then next time they're gonna come up with some suggestions for you what you could do. Another way that they could use that is like taking looking at the patterns, not just for basically attracting more customers, but also for security measurements.
I feel like they always get it wrong too. That's why we're talking about what to do with big data once you get it. But anytime I go onto Amazon and I buy something, and then I go onto my Instagram feed and it's like, hey, you're interested in this. You should buy it. And it's like, dude, I already bought it.
Yeah,
you already have it. You already wasted an ad. Like, should caught me 3 days ago. I was there.
I already bought it.
And your phone is always listening to you.
God damn it.
Nice.
So if you talk with someone,
yes,
for example, like let's say right now we talk about, I don't know, like a Jeep. Okay. Yeah. Next time that you open your phone, the chances of seeing a Jeep commercial, it's very high.
I'm just doing it now, so I definitely get it. I don't even want a Jeep. I just, as it is.
I mean, it's scary, but it's true.
That is wild.
It's pretty crazy. It's cool though. It's
absolutely.
You can either fight it or go with it, but I think
just embrace it.
Pretty. Yeah, you got to embrace it.
You're just giving yourself
coming
over.
In hot.
I think the biggest is just being aware of it.
Yeah.
Right. Because I feel like it'll freak you out at some point. And then I remember when we were doing mobile, we talked to Aaron, a while ago on the pod, but like even in 2012, we could see it in our own app. Like, I don't know if it was readily available outside of that, but if we built an app, you could tell, hey, that person went in and out of the Bellagio or the Pachanga or whatever. And then we could send a message to that person based on that. Right. And his famous line, which I thought was great, he goes, don't make your messages creepy. Like you don't want to go, hey, see that you're leaving. Because it's like, wait, what? You saw that I was leaving? Like, that's no good. So it's also a little bit of responsibility on the, the company, I guess. But
just recently, Google released Google Assistant. So basically, the assistant can make a call for you, like make a reservation in a hair salon, for example. And it saves a lot of time. But the interesting part about that experiment was the person on the call could not recognize it was a real person or not.
That is so scary.
So I have an iPhone, so I'm way behind on Google Assistant. But so basically you're saying you could use hair salon. Point at Landon here. So Landon could say, hey, Google Assistant, make me a reservation at the hair salon tomorrow at 2 p.m. Google Assistant would then phone call this place and have a voice of a person that they couldn't distinguish between human or non-human.
Exactly.
Just give up.
Yeah.
This is insane, man. Like, how is it possible?
What I know you're working on a lot of cool stuff. What fascinates you in this business that you're not working on? What do you like? What do you like? This is really fascinating. I would love to go research it or study it, but you haven't got to that point yet.
I would like to be more involved in the gaming side, to be honest.
Gaming, gambling stuff.
Yeah. That's a thing that I feel we still have a lot of potential that has not been tapped yet. And so that's why I came up with this proposal of using the robot in sports betting environment.
Interesting.
I am very much interested in doing anything that is related to that when it comes to AI, when it comes to using robots or just running the data and coming up with some solutions and forecasting.
This is amazing.
I have a really cool question.
Go for it.
Because we weren't going to bring the aliens into it, but...
Yeah.
Oh, we were. As soon as you heard that word, it was coming.
Do you think that other life beings outside of Earth gamble?
I think so.
He loves it.
They should.
You think so? I've wondered that. I wonder if they have other casinos and other
just
galaxies.
Kicking around the cosmos going, I don't know, man. What do you think? Just roll some alien
like
decahedron
UFO
or whatever.
races and such. I don't know.
Maybe. Here's the thing.
Sports even.
Why not?
Why not?
Why wouldn't they?
Because they might be way more advanced and this style of entertainment they don't need that to like.
Yeah, maybe they just do like they play the cards in their stomach. They don't have to actually have a table.
Oh, yes. We're going to have fun talks outside of this.
Here's what I'll say.
Yes, I can't wait.
I hope they gamble. Because if aliens are real and they're coming and we ever meet them, I want them to be fun aliens.
Maybe they're
not
here
boring little logic boxes that don't interact. Like, I want that alien to go, come on, 7, man, or whatever they're.
You guys messed Pepper up. I love this.
The Pepper Revenge Store.
Pepper Revenge Store.
Do you gamble yourself? Are you a gambler?
Do,
What do you have a fun story? Like, have you been gambling recently, or is there anything that jumps out to you as like, oh, this gambling was fun?
So I want to actually. This is like not a reason.
That's okay.
Yeah.
And you did it.
I just wanted to highlight some of the differences in culture. So
yeah.
when I was living in Malaysia, so you know that maybe you don't know.
I pretend we don't know because we probably don't know.
So gambling is illegal in Malaysia except for this tiny, like not an island, but like on top of the hills, Genting.
Right.
Yeah. So that's the only area that people are allowed to gamble.
Right.
And they take it too seriously.
Right.
So I walked into the casino. I was like, I don't know, like 7 years ago. And I was so excited, to just walk into a casino and see what
was that your
doing.
First casino?
It was because we don't have any in Iran.
Yeah.
And then these people took it too seriously. And I remember that I was kind of like I should just leave because for them it was just more like a business. It's very different compared to what you see.
Those are the
here.
gamblers. The gamblers are very businessy. Okay.
For them it's just a business. They were just angry men, and they didn't want to, talk to anyone. They didn't want to do anything. They
it was
were
like
just
you against them.
Yeah,
and it was a business.
That's weird.
Yeah,
but this is the other gambler. This isn't the staff.
Oh,
the staff's not angry men. Did you say like you go sit at a blackjack table or something? The other guys are just pissed.
Yeah,
that's weird.
Well, you think about even 20 years ago, even in Vegas, and especially in Europe, like in some of the English casinos and European casinos, it's in the US, it was almost like an event when you went to the casino. You would get dressed up. It was like, now it's just whatever, right? There's no,
you definitely see a lot of people not dressing up in these casinos.
What I'm saying? But it's more like that in Europe today. So it's like, it's funny to watch like that shift as like, we get more comfortable with it.
Same way every time I'm teaching when my students walk in with their jumpers.
Yeah. It's just they're coming in pajamas, whatever.
I have no legs to stand on in this conversation because I was in college.
You were the jumper?
No jumper. But it was always like, there was a guy, equipment manager for football, was Pooch is his nickname.
Okay,
so
good name.
We always called our clothes Pooch issued, right?
Yeah.
So you have like gray sweatpants and gray, shirts, and you just wear that because you're like, I'm going from the workout gym to class, back to practice. Like we had time for fashion. Well, I didn't have to. I should say a lot of the guys were very fashionable, me not so much. So I'm just like, I'm the guy walking in. You're like, that's what you came to class in? Yeah, I'm here to get my degree, not to go model in Milan or whatever. But
you never know. Maybe it could work out.
Yeah, them plus size models are in the rage right now. We'll see what they do.
You would be a plus size model.
So.
A tall
2XL, buddy. And so, but okay, so you went to resorts, Genting, Malaysia. What game did you like? What was your first game? Your first wager ever in your life 7 years ago was what?
Poker.
What? Look at that.
She's so cool.
She's like, I don't care. I'm going to stare you down. So that makes sense about the angry men then.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
We are running out of time.
Yeah.
We try to keep the shows to an hour, but this has been awesome.
Yeah.
I feel like we didn't even get all the way through everything you're working on.
You'll be back. We'll have her back as she's like, when she's officially Dr. Nasim.
Mike's going to laugh because this is one of my favorite combos, and I say that.
Not at all. Yeah. He said, every time.
I just love this. It's fun. We get to meet a lot of cool people, and we appreciate you reaching out and being bold and coming on our show. And we're excited to get your story because we like talking to everybody. And if we could ask you to challenge someone to come on this show, who would you challenge and why?
I would think of Robert Rippey. I think he's
cool.
He's
got to bring the suit though. That little like
the haptic suit. That thing was awesome.
We should do the interview with him in the haptic suit.
He probably put you in it.
I'm in.
You know why? Because you got it.
I would fly off the chair in one punch. I'm gone, dude.
That was the best part. So without ruining it, but we toured the lab, right? And it just happened to be the day, I think the Knights were in there looking at some stuff with the suit. And so for people that don't know, this suit is like you put it on like a suit, like a jumper, right? Whatever. And it's got all these like haptic sensors, or you probably could describe better. And then it simulates like in a video game. So if you're playing like a football video game, or in this case a hockey, and you get checked, like the suit will check you.
Yeah.
Right. And he was saying, he goes, we have examples. He points at me. He goes, guys your size in the suit that get checked virtually, but they move like 5 feet on the stage. Like somebody really hit them. So it's like
they're using that haptic suit for training for firemen, policemen.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And also for pilots, they also use that for that. And
what would a pilot need a haptic suit for? Like getting punched by the stewardess? Like what?
That could happen.
It could happen
these days.
Okay. It's funny you went to commercial airline pilot. For me, I'm thinking fighter pilot. So I'm just thinking like if you're in that, like I got to believe that the ride you get as a military pilot is not smooth. Like you're going super fast, big turns.
I was like
trying to build your body into like rib shots.
This is your captain. I just got punched in the kidney by my haptic suit.
My co-pilot doesn't think I'm funny. That would be awesome. So if you, I know we met him. we didn't grab his card. It was like a 5-minute handshake. So if you don't mind introducing us, that would be massive. But
cool.
Always love talking to the people smarter than us and the rebels to boot. So it's amazing.
Thank you so much for
coming by and rocking and rolling.
Me.
So absolutely. Cheers. Yeah, exactly.